Well, Peter, here we have first grade up here now, mate, and look, let's be fair dinkum. I don't know whether I'm embarrassed or I'm disappointed or really disgusted in the fact that we've got now Denman. There's 10 players out there, mate. Let's be fair dinkum.
I think you can use all of that terminology just then to sum it up. And look, amongst those 10 players, Peter, there's 2 juniors out there that played yesterday, and I think out of the first graders that have played every game this year, there is Zach Webb, Tommy Mann, Brady Benkovic. Those 3 players have played every game this year for the Devils. Zachy Webb, Tommy Mann and Brady Benkovic, who's going to kick off. So there's only 10 players there. They've got no one on the bench, and we've got an Aberdeen side that are looking very, very ominous leading into a semi-final. Now, if the Denman boys can't find some guys with a little bit of ticker in them for next week, it'll be a very short semi-final series. Look, we know that they've had problems with injuries, but...
No, it's beyond injuries, Peter.
This is more than just injuries.
No, it's beyond injuries, and maybe after the last game of the season, someone needs to say it as it is, and maybe that might be myself, but we'll get to that another day. Here's Jason Hovey after 2 tackles. They're already just shy of the halfway. This is going to be an absolute trouncing here today, mate. Let's make no mistake about it, and I hate to say it, but... maybe we'll have the 4th game in a row where we will not see out the 80 minutes, unfortunately, for that. Here's the Aberdeen boys' big Marcus Marsh. He didn't play last week, Marcus Marsh, Peter. He's charged forward. It's about the 4th tackle. Liam Forum goes to the blind side, a little chip through. Cameron French is going to be all over it like a rash. No, it finds its way into the in goal. Benkovic was down there trying to stop that run, but they're going to have a set of 7. With a 20-metre restart. Yeah, and already, look at the guy, look at the Denman boys. Some of them are even struggling now. What have we had?
Sucking in the big ones.
A minute and 10 seconds. Here's Zach Webb with the tap restart from the 20-metre line. He makes 5 metres. Some of the players here for Denman, the majority of them played yesterday. Other than the 3 guys, other than Zachy Webb, Benkovic and Tommy Mann, the rest of them all played yesterday. So that's what we've got right now in this competition for the side that is going to finish 4th. Clayton Edwards goes forward and he gets under a high shot there by number 12 and Richard Graham, that is, young Richard Graham. The other thing we can see here is, Pete, is that the Aberdeen side, you know, they won't want to take it easy, but just by their body language, you know, they'll probably think, well, we're only playing 10 players. We just have to hang in there for a little while.
Look, I can see already. I was there at last week's game against Singleton where they were done 40-0, and the intensity so far that they're putting in is, you know, a lot higher than the standard of last week. Yep. But Marcus Marsh has made a couple of good tackles and a really good run so far, and you know, gives them that go forward. And the rest of them play off that. Jackson
Stair, the junior, who played yesterday, gets up and plays the ball to Carl Bowd. Bowd gets it onto Benkovic. He goes down. Not the kick that he was looking for, young Stubbs. And I
suppose a bit too much on it.
Yeah, I suppose he just tried something into the corner, but he got too heavy a foot, young Benko. And now the Aberdeen Tigers are going to find themselves with a 20-metre restart, centre field, and... ball goes out to Richard Graham and he's tackled 35 metres out from his own line. Liam Forum at dummy half gets it on to Hovey, and Hovey loves going forward. He's got great leg speed. He gets through one, he gets through another. Nathan Barry and Clayton Edwards and young Jacko Stair try to put him down just shy of halfway. Here's a ball into Marcus Marsh, first receiver out the back to Hasselman. Ball goes out wide to Dylan Porter, and Porter's got all the time in the world. He only has to draw and pass. He doesn't. He goes under Benkovic, gives it on to Huey Bartholomew, who's tackled 10 metres out. It was a one-on-one strip, I thought. Was it a one-on-one strip?
Like a one-on-one strip to myself.
I thought Tommy Mann.
Up for it.
I thought Tommy Mann did do a one-on-one strip there, but anyway, not the case. Ball goes out to Hasselman. Hasselman, long pass out the back to Forum. They've only got to spin it wide and they'll score. Cameron French gives it on to Harry Douglas, who dives over in the corner and plants it as close as you can possibly get to the corner post and scores. Good effort by young Andrew Charters, I think that is. Andrew Charters? Yes, it is. Yep.
he's had a fair time in filling in for first grade this year, young Charters. I'll give him a big rap, along with all the other boys, of course. But Andrew Charters, the start of the year, Pete, and I've said this many times, a lot of these young boys wouldn't have thought in a million years they'd ever get a start at first grade, mate. But to their credit, they've stuck in there, and it's so easy to say no. I played yesterday.
Oh, it'd be real easy to say no.
But they're out here having a go. Now, I sound like a broken record when I say that, but I mean I can't talk up these young blokes enough, because they've put their hand up. I was talking to Adam Gretsch this morning, and they did say that he would be lucky to have 12 players, and here we are. We find ourselves a Denman first grade side run on the field on Aberdeen Old Boys Day with 10 players. So it's very disappointing, and I just wonder how many of the Denman players that aren't here today have come up to support the team that can't take the field. I did see Joshy Scrimger. He's been here on every game. I think Scrimger might be back from a bad shoulder injury next week, but apart from Joshy Scrimger, I don't see too many other people here on the sideline cheering on the Denman players who are out injured.
No, look, I can see plenty of the Tiger supporters around the ground. You look around and you don't really see anyone in any Denman colours whatsoever. But as you touched on, it is Old Boys Day here. We've seen a couple of cracking games of footy prior to this. But, signs aren't all that bad from Denman so far. Tigers had the break down the sideline there, but there was almost an intercept taken. It could have been Denman scoring the first try of the match. Yeah,
young Mick McMorrow's out there. He's playing out wide outside Zachy Webb. But look, the way the Denman players are playing now, they're just going to try and cover as many positions as possible. I don't think there's any one position covered out there. Maybe Carl Bowd at dummy half and young Benko at first receiver. But here's the kick restart. It goes straight down Dylan Porter's throat, and he gets it. Really good take from young Porter. Here's Huey Bartholomew. Huey Bartholomew goes forward. He steps through one, steps through another. He fends off one. What a great tackle by Andrew Charters. That's the young fella I was telling you about, Peter. He's tackled inside the Denman 30. Here's the ball out wide. They've only got to swing it. Here's Tyler Campbell. He goes wide. He shrugs off one. Gives it on to, who's that? Jesse McLean out there. And he scores in the corner for the Aberdeen Tigers.
Nice little flick pass by
Prince Campbell.
Prince Campbell there. And he's been in pretty good season form.
Yeah, really good form. These reserves down in front of us here, Peter, from the Aberdeen Tigers. Let's look at them through 13. Shawnee Millwood there, Liam Wilton. 15 is Travi Bateman, and 14, Jason Havey's on there. But number 16, I think, is a young boy of Collins. I think that's a young boy of Collins on number 16. At some point, some of these Aberdeen first graders will come off, and those reserves will go on, especially that the fact that's Huey Collins, yeah. Some of these boys will be planning for their major semi-final big game next week against Scone, Peter. And, geez, that promises to be a good game, because the Aberdeen Tigers, what's happened has happened, and you mentioned it on Thursday night. The last 15 rounds mean absolutely nothing come semi-final time, mate. It was a really good point you made.
Yeah, semi-finals, whole new kettle of fish. I mean, Scone have been very dominant, as we know, right through the season. But that counts for nothing once we get into semis and you start again.
Yeah, no question, mate. Here's Hasselman trying to convert this try in the corner. This will take it to 10-0 if he does. 32 minutes to go here in the first grade clash at McKinnon Field. He's hooked it wide, young Hass, and it's 8 points to 0 here. We've had just over 8 minutes of play here. I still see Daniel Hugoworth on the sideline down here. I don't know how long Hoogs is going to be out, but my guess is that he would love to come back in a major semi-final clash.
Oh, look, I don't think he'd probably be far away. Talking to him last week, he sounded pretty confident. So
and he gives the Aberdeen side another dimension, and because he's such a great player.
Oh, definitely does. And you got 4 in there at halfback who plays like a forward anyway most of the time. But with Hoogs in there, definitely makes a big difference to their pack.
Well, there's a sneaky little kick restart from Benkovic. He dribbled it through. It went about 12 metres and he dived on it. And the Denman boys have the ball. They'll try it all here today. Let me give you the tip. Zach Webb, 30 out from the Tigers line directly in front. Here's Jackson Stair, the young junior that battled away yesterday. takes the ball about 25 metres out from the Aberdeen line, gets up and plays the ball to Bowd onto Zach Webb. They got no runners, the poor buggers, so Webby's had no option but to go himself. Bowdy at dummy half, no ground made. They're still about 25 metres out from the Tigers line. Campbell over the top for a line. Ball goes out to Benkovic, gives an unders ball. No, he doesn't. He goes himself. He comes to Frenchie, and Frenchie wraps him up hard with Richard Graham. Lost ground, but here's Carl Bowd from dummy half. Puts a little chip over Bowdy, and he comes to Huey Bartholomew. He takes him. Good take from Bowdy, and he had no other options, but he did his best. And young Andy Parks, I forgot to mention him earlier too. Here's Harry Douglas. We'll get back to that shortly. He can fly, young Duggo. Benkovic coming at him. He goes inside him and slows him down enough for young Andy Parks to round him up. 30 metres out from the Denman line. Ball goes out to Jason Hovey. He's got no one in front of him. He shrugs off one, shrugs off two, and scores underneath the post. And that all started from Harry Douglas and Huey Bartholomew off that little chip down the side here by Carl Bowd.
Look, Denman have to try things, and they did that with the little chip. Unfortunately, Douglas made the break down the sideline, but well gathered up. And then, too many numbers for the Tigers.
Yeah, Benny Clark got that ball off that quick play, the ball, and he give it inside ball to Jason Hovey. And when Hovey pins the ears back and he gets some momentum up, I don't think there's too many players in the competition that can stop him. He's got such great leg speed, Hovey. And that takes the score to 12 points to 0. The scoreboard's playing up at the moment. There's just under 30 minutes to go. Foran will have this kick. He won't miss this from right in front, and that'll take it to 14-0.
Yeah. Now, Hovey, when he's running the ball, where is he looking? Because he's got that chin right up. That lifts that head high as he runs, doesn't he?
He does. Harry Douglas, he can fair dinkum toe it, can't he?
Yeah, he got a bit of toe on him. Like, there's nothing of him. He looks like a stick. He's not afraid to go infield and look for the ball as well and take it up through the middle.
Well, if I call Curtis Irving a one-iron, Harry Douglas is a two-iron.
Far off
a little bit shorter in stature, but he's let's say Harry Douglas is the rescue club.
Yeah, that's the one.
In your bag of golf sticks. He's a rescue club because the kid can play anywhere, Duggo.
But Denman just walking it back nice and slowly here, as you would expect. With only 10 players on the field.
Well, I know, Peter. Adam Gretsch was absolutely thinking about playing today. He's coming back from a broken jaw against this very side, Aberdeen, out there at Denman in that night game. So I know Gretsch was thinking about putting the boots on today, but elected to. My guess is that he will come back next week in the minor semi-final. So there's Graham off the kick restart, and it goes forward. And I mean, that was pretty obvious, Clayton. Clayton Edwards raked the ball out. Nick Martin had no option but to call a stripped. And
come next week with the minor semi-final and Denman get a heap of players back.
And that's the question, mate. So this is the thing, Pete. I keep saying it, and we've all been hopeful. The boys,
touch finder, good
it
yards.
is. We've been hopeful that those players are going to come back, but only those guys can make that decision. And let's hope they can find it in themselves to put the boots on next week. Here's Richard Graham off the tap restart off Liam Forum. Good tackle there by Webby. They're 30 out from the Denman line. Here's Jason Hovey. He goes forward. He goes through Tommy Mann. Benkovic over the top with Bowdy. Look at that right-hand side, Pete. No one out there. They've got to score. Benny Clark gets a ball onto Hasselman. Another pass out to Harry Douglas. He's just going to stroll over in the corner. No, what did he call an obstruction? They got into each other's road. They got into each other's road.
Too many of them. There was probably 7 or 8 of them out there that could have scored the try.
You know what happened? I'll tell you what happened. Harry Douglas thought, bugger this, I'm going to come from my wing and I'm just going to join in out there. But in doing so, he ran behind about 2 of his own players.
Well, what we ended up with, there were no Tigers over on the left-hand side of the field. They were all out on the right.
Yeah.
And Denman was sliding across, but they got in each other's road.
Here's Mick McMorrow with the tap restart. He's going to play it about 30 metres out from his own line. Takes it forward and he's hitting a good tackle there by Haas and also Campbell. Putting down just on the 40, about a dummy half onto Clayton Edwards. Clayton Edwards has dug deep all year. By Clayton's own admission, he's dropped that ball in the tackle. Clayton, he gives it his best shot, poor old Clayton, but he knows that this is a task, a little bit probably beyond him. But you know what? The kid puts his hand up
He's
every week.
He's still out there doing it. He's still out there having a go. We know that we've only had the 4 teams this year in the competition,
Yeah.
and it's been ordinary, to say the least.
It has been ordinary, mate.
Next year, we're hoping that possibly 6 teams back into
Yeah,
first
Garuda
grade.
Brankston and the Rams. We'll just call this. We'll have another opportunity. Here's the long ball from the scrum restart out to Frenchie. On to Duggo. Oh, Duggo's coughed it up. Cold as a spud. Andy Parks gets the ball and he runs straight into Cameron French. And there's no advantage there, but young Parks, he plays the ball just inside. Here's the Jackson Stair now, and Stair goes forward. He's just over his own 30-metre line. The biggest thing for the Devils here is they're going to find themselves, they'll be absolutely knocked up in this heat with no subs. Here's Nathan Barry, takes the ball forward onto Benko, and Benko gets the ball and he goes to Liam Forum, and he's tackled one-on-one from Foz and Richard Graham down below. He doesn't go anywhere. My guess is, Peter, that if there's a cricket score here at half time, mate, I'll be very surprised if both teams come out in the second half. That was a bit of a dodgy tackle by Prince Campbell over Zachy Webb. He picked him up. He was at the horizontal and he was very, very high. So Nick Martin had no option but to blow the penalty. So here's young Benkovic. He kicks for touch. He's about 35 metres out from the Aberdeen line. McMorrow with the tap restart. He'll go himself. He goes straight into that wall. Hasselman there along with Dylan Porter. Bout at dummy half. Gets the ball onto Tommy Mann, and Tommy Mann goes forward, finds himself about 25 metres out from the Aberdeen line. Bout at dummy half onto Zachy Webb. Zach Webb, long pass out to Benkovic. There's no one running, but they're doing their very best. Benkovic goes himself. He's busted one. Gives the ball out the back to Charters. Oh, and poor old Charters. He just spills it there. He made a half a break, Benko. I think he probably would have been better off going himself, but young Charters give it his best shot, and he just coughed it up 15 metres out from the Aberdeen line. Bit of a half break there, but they did their best, mate.
Yeah, Tigers opened up a hole there, and Benkovic ran through there. I think throwing the ball out wide was the play, just couldn't be handled out here by the centre.
Yeah, young Andrew Charters. Scrum feed.
Promising signs for Denman.
We've got Tommy Mann playing out wide. He's playing an outside centre role, Pete. Poor old Andy Parks here. He's a young junior. If they come down this side, I'm sure Frenchie and Harry Douglas will have a field day. But to his credit, I tell you what, the young kid's got some toe. He won't give up. Here's Mick McMorrow tackles Campbell just inside the Aberdeen's own 20. Marcus Marsh goes forward. He shrugs off Jackson Stair. Tommy Mann and also Zach Webb come again. He's tackled just shy of the 40. Benny Clark goes from dummy half. He throws a wayward pass out there. Jesse McLean overran it and knocked it on in doing so. So it's a turnover to the Devils inside the Aberdeen half.
Yeah, look, I think the Tigers are going to be their own worst enemy here. You should be scoring just about off every set of six.
Well, if they swing it, Pete, there's no question. If they swing it wide, they're going to score. There's no question. But maybe a little bit of complacency has just crept into that Aberdeen side. They know that. A little
bit of respect.
Yeah, absolutely. They know they're going to score, but by doing so, they're just. The passes aren't hitting the mark. Here's Jackson Stair from the scrum base, goes forward to Benkovic, and he gets wrapped up just shy of the Aberdeen 40 by Marcus Marsh. Zachy Webb with the ball now. He goes forward and he's tackled. They're 38 metres out, 20 in from touch. Bout at dummy half. Ball goes short to Benko. Benko gives a short pass. No, there's no runners there, so Harvey wraps him up pretty easy with Foz. And he's tackled about 31 metres out, 10 metres in from touch. He's slow to play the ball. Here's Nathan Barry, first cab off the rank. Goes forward inside the 30. The big Travie Bateman tries to drag him down. Sorry, Cameron Savage it is. Little chip over the top. Can that one hold up? It does so. Andrew Charters gets the ball. The ball bounces right angles for old Charters, and Huey Bartholomew picks it up. He's got some toe. The couple of juniors are after him. Huey's going himself. He comes to Zach Webb. He unloads it onto 4, and they've only got to pass it out. Cut out pass to Campbell, and Campbell's got the open park. He's over the 40. He's over the 30. He's over the 20. No one in pursuit except Andrew Charters, but he gives up the ghost. And Campbell comes around, steps inside Mick McMorrow to score under the post. Scoreboard's not working, Peter, so I don't know what the score is. I think it might be 22-0. We'll listen to the sideline.
We'll see if she gets on the
ground
line
and
on this
answer.
one and lets us know what the score is. Hang on, they're updating now.
Here we go. 21 minutes to go in this first half. It's by the scoreboard that took it to maybe 22-0. I think they're showing 18-0. Liam Forum's not silly. He's a very, very smart footballer, Pete, and he knew all he had to do was throw it wide, and they had the numbers.
Look, they're going to have the numbers every single time that they do that.
Yeah.
And as the match wears on, we'll see it open up even more for them, because the Denman guys will just end up too tired and worn out.
Yeah, and as I said to you earlier, they've taken Campbell off and Marcus Marsh off, and they've put Huey Collins and also Travis Bateman on the field now, giving them a bit of a run. So that's exactly what they need. They don't need those two guys out there. They've had a magnificent season, Campbell, Tyler Prince-Campbell and Marcus Marsh, as Liam Forum makes no mistake, directly in front. 20 minutes to go in this first half here. It's, would we say that's 20-0, Pete?
We'll have to go with 20-0.
I thought it was more than that.
No, they've only moved it up to 20, so there you go.
There you go.
We're sitting at 20-0. But what surprised me then was Tyler Prince-Campbell and taken off down the field, and how much toe he's actually got. I didn't realise he was so quick.
No, he can go. He can dead set go.
But young Parks out here on the wing, he gave chase there, and like you just said a few minutes back, he does have a bit of toe about him, and he's a pretty nuggety, solid-looking kid.
Yep.
Plenty of ticker to be out there, so good on him.
Well, the Denman Juniors only had 11 players yesterday against Muswellbrook, and they actually led at half-time.
Wow.
So that was a really good effort by the boys. Here's Nathan Barry with the kick restart. It goes over the head of Cameron French. No, he jumps up. Times it well, young Frenchie. He's got plenty of room to move, and I tell you what, the kid can run as well. He's tackled just shy of halfway by Jackson Stair. Look at the back line there setting up for Aberdeen. There's full of runners out there right now. Here's Jason Hovey. Hovey goes forward and he's tackled. They're trying to unload it. No, he doesn't. He's 35 metres out, centre field. Realistically, Liam Forum knows he's only got to get it through some hands and they're going to score out wide. But there's Cameron Savage. He goes through one. Carl Bow, that man is, before Jackson Stair tackles him. Benko over the top, and also Clayton Edwards. Ball comes down the left to Richard Graham. Richard Graham charges at the line. 10 out from the Denman line. There's no one there. And Ben Clark, I should say, goes himself and scores underneath the post from 10 metres out. Everyone's stacked this left-hand side defensive unit, but Ben Clark looked up, saw no one in front of him and strolled over, virtually untouched, to score underneath the post. 24 points to 0.
The bloke who made the tackle was still laying on the ground. He's jumped out of dummy half, noticed that, and went across the line without even a finger being laid on him. But the Tigers, this is going to end up a massive score for them this afternoon, going at better than a point a minute.
Yeah, look, it'll be disappointing if they, like I said to you, mate, with 10 players, I reckon we'll only see half-time, mate.
Yeah, look, I'd probably want to sit in the sheds and lock the door as well.
It's a shame. It's a dead set shame. And, you know, Aberdeen probably know that. They probably know that there might have been a call. If it blows out too much, they'll pull up stumps at half-time, and I doubt very much whether those guys will come in. I mean, let's be honest. There's 10 guys out there. They'll have no one. There's no subs, and it's a very warm day up here. And, you know, the poor buggers will need a drink or two at the very least.
Oh, exactly right. And even sitting up here in the commentary, and we're nice and shaded, and it's quite warm up here. Here's Liam Forum moving in to convert that try. 26 points to 0. We've got 17 minutes of play left in this first half. The thing that I was going to ask you, Peter, I didn't see the game last week, Singleton versus Aberdeen. I mean, I know there was a few of these Singleton boys that didn't play in that game, but I'm still blown away by that scoreline that the Singleton Greyhounds put on the Aberdeen Tigers last week down there at Pertec Park. Look, a majority of the points came first half when Singleton had the wind with them, and in the second half that wind disappeared. And, the Tigers just didn't look like they wanted to be there. They didn't look like they were into the game at all.
Yeah.
No Marcus Marsh there last week for their go forward, and they really struggled.
Who kicked that? That has gone out in the full. Who kicked that? That was woeful by Nathan Barry, I think it was. And
look, they've tried everything off the kickoffs, haven't they?
Yeah, maybe just put one deep for a change. That might help. Here's Liam Forum with the kick restart. It's going to go well into the Denman half, and my guess is they'll score another converted try out of this. Here's Jesse McLean going to throw the ball into Dylan Porter, and Porter, who's had a good season as well, onto Hasselman, and passes it off onto Cameron Savage, and Savage charges inside the Denman 10. Up, play of the ball quick. Gets the ball onto Huey Collins, and Huey Collins is trying to stroll over, but he doesn't. He charges into the Denman defence. There's only a 3-man overlap this side of the field on the left, Peter. Yeah, ball goes out wide, and ball goes wide. It goes on to Liam Foran, who switches play, goes down the other side onto Hasselman. Hasselman draws and passes. No, he gives it on to Dylan Porter, who then turns it back inside to Ewan Bartholomew to score and run around underneath the post. That'll be 30 points to 0 with 15 minutes to go in this first half.
Look, from what I saw last week of Aberdeen playing Singleton, they've come out with more intent this week, definitely. The forwards are actually on the front foot and going forward. I know they're only playing 10 men, but they're running harder than what they did last week, and so's their defence is a lot harder than what it was last week as well. Last week, like I said, it looked like they did not want to be there at all.
Well, we all know that, can we say that maybe Aberdeen thought, you don't like to think that they had that train of thought running through their head that they're always going to finish in a major semi-final spot, but when they're playing Denman, Singleton last week, you get that little bit of complacency come in, and Singleton would have wanted to flog them down there. There's no question about that. And, it's all about attitude on the day. And this Aberdeen side, we looked at the reserve grade side. That's a very, very smart reserve grade side, but and a number of those boys can slot into a spot here in first grade. And, look, Aberdeen have got some depth. There's no question about it. And I'm not saying they can beat Scone, but they can certainly run them right to the 80th minute.
Look, these guys here that are out here for first grade today for Aberdeen, they've got to be on their game because, like you just said, a lot of that reserve grade side that they've got could be playing first grade without a problem. And they've got to stay on their toes. And if they can keep... The thing I've seen of Aberdeen this year, if it is ill-disciplined, if they can keep that sort of thing under control and get their kicking game in order and all, they'll go a long way to really giving Scone a good shake.
Well, 32 points to 0, 13 half minutes to go. Benkovic with the kick restart. He's probably banned Nathan Barry from kicking off. Ball goes deep down there. That looks like it's going over their head.
Big.
Oh, my goodness. That's gone over the dead ball line. He wouldn't have kicked it that far in a million years, young Benko. Fair dinkum. That bruise has got up too, Peter, and it's going straight behind him. And for the second restart,
look at the
they've got a penalty, the Aberdeen Tigers.
Each one of them, as that whistle was blown for the penalty, even though they knew it was going to be one, each one of them dropped their head.
Yeah, he probably didn't realise he could kick it that far. But nevertheless, Aberdeen with a full set of 6, 30 metres out from the Devils line. Jesse McLean will get the ball and he'll take it infield with a tap restart to Dylan Porter. And as I said, I thought Dylan Porter's had a great season so far as well. He's on Cameron Savage. Savage runs forward and he gets tackled by Tommy Mann and Jackson Stair over the top. Clark at dummy half. On to Hasselman. Turns it inside to Huey Collins, a young guy just out of juniors, I think, Huey Collins. It's a one-on strip to Benko. Young Benkovic has stripped him one-on-one. 10 metres out from his own line. Here's Clayton Edwards at dummy half onto Jackson Stair. Jackson Stair runs forward. It's a flop, and Nick Martin's found a penalty for offside out there on young Hasselman. He might have felt sorry for him out there.
Well, no, I've seen him in a few sets of 6 warn them about getting back in 10.
Good point.
Trying to creep up just a little bit, as everybody does. But finally, he's blown the whistle on him.
Well, they've got a tap restart right on the halfway line here for the Devils. Here's Mickey McMorrow. He gets the ball, charges into the Aberdeen defence, and is that young Hasselman, one-on-one, picks him up and belts him into the ground. Here's, who's that from dummy half? Is that Benkovic at dummy half? He swarmed. He danced around left and right, but went nowhere. Tried to try and find a gap down that short side, I think. Here's the ball onto Jackson Stair from Bout at dummy half, and he's made about 3 metres. Tries to get up and plays it quickly. Bout at dummy half. Long pass out to Benkovic onto Tommy Mann, and Tommy Mann goes forward, just shy of the Aberdeen 30. About it, dummy half, short pass to Benkovic down this right-hand side. He goes himself and he runs into Travis Bateman, who puts him down 25 metres out. It's the last. Zachy Webb runs around to the open side. Little crossfield kick. There's no one chasing, but it goes between the posts, and Jesse McLean fields it inside his own in goal. If he gets through the first two, he might score a long try, but he doesn't.
There's no one home if he gets through there.
Great tackle there by Mick McMorrow and Jackson Stair. Here's the ball on to Liam Forum out wide. Now he goes himself. He's got plenty of room to move. He gives it on to Dylan Porter, and Dylan Porter's up over halfway. He gets past Andy Parks. He's up over the 40. He gives it on to Harry, the rescue wedge, the rescue club, Douglas, and he goes around and scores a try. Young Andy Parks tried hard to chase him, but young Duggo just simply had too much pace, Peter.
Look, once he put that foot down, didn't he just pull away from him there? But, there was some enterprising play from Denman. Zach Webb, when he got the ball, had already said to players, I'm going to put a kick back in field, but they just didn't have the energy, unfortunately, to chase that. And now we see Tigers run all the way down the other end and put it under the black dot again.
Yeah, they were lining up, a couple of the boys, no question about that. Young Harry Douglas come up with the bickies. Dylan Porter went extremely well also.
So Foran just out to the side of the post. He's probably, 10-15 out from the side.
Close enough, Pete. Jesse McLean's coming off. He might have got a bit of a cork in his right thigh, Jesse McLean, so that's a bit of a concern leading into next week.
Look at that, or he's pulled a hammy with so much open space.
I see he's coming off. I just don't know who's going on. Ewan Bartholomew likes the wide open spaces, doesn't he, Peter? It's Ewan from old, vintage Ewan Bartholomew. He loves those open spaces, and if he's got room to move, he's very, very hard to pull down.
It really is more a swerve than a step that he has.
Yeah.
Very,
he's looking for him.
Very pretty to watch.
He moves in, makes no mistakes. It's 42 points to 0. Or have they put the 4 points up already, Peter? We're under 10 minutes to go here. 9 minutes, in fact.
Might have already put it up.
9 minutes to go here in the Group 21 final regular season game. The semi-finals start next week. And we will see Scone hosting the major semi-final series up there at Scone Park. They'll play in both first grade and reserve grade, and also the ladies league tag side. I'm not sure about the juniors, Peter. I think they might have finished third or fourth, but nevertheless, Scone will host that in first grade against this Aberdeen Tigers side. Reserve grade, I think we've worked out it's Merriwar. They'll play.
Playing,
in the minor semi-final, Singleton will host all those games down at Pertec Park, and in particular, the first grade will see we'll see Singleton play Denman, and off the kick-off, you called it, Pete. Off the kick-off, young Benkovic put it down. Huey Bartholomew put his hand up. It hit his hand in his own in goal and went straight over the dead ball line. So it'll be a line dropout.
Look, I think he was in two minds there whether to play
let it go. Yeah,
I think if he let it go, it might have been out on the full again.
What's the chance here? Liam Foran will do a short 10-metre one. Is there anyone there? There's no one there. He doesn't. He gets it down there and it goes forward, and Zachy Webb's under it, 35 metres out from the Aberdeen line. He goes forward, takes it straight into Ben Clark and Cameron Savage there as well to put him down. Centre field, 21 metres out. Ball goes from Bowd onto Clayton Edwards. Stopped before he came to the defence and got belted for it, young Edo.
You've got to keep
gets up and plays the ball to Bowdy. Bowdy gives it on to Tommy Mann. Another guy that's had a really good season, young Tommy Mann. Hasn't missed a game. Ben Clark puts him down 12 metres from the Aberdeen line. Benkovic goes across field, looks for a spot to go through himself. He tried to unload it in traffic, but it coughed it up, and unfortunately for him, he lost the ball 10 metres out, 8 metres out from the Aberdeen line. Huey Bartholomew picks it up, and now he finds himself tackled centre field 25 metres out from his own line. Ball goes down the right-hand side. Cameron Savage gets the ball, and Savage charges up over his own 40.
Look, he wasn't running like that last week, I can assure you, so it's good to see that he's back doing what he does.
Yeah, here's Liam Foran with the ball, gives the ball on to Travis Bateman. Bateman full of running, he loves going out wide. Bateman, he shrugs off the fullback and he goes to score underneath the post himself, and good effort there by Travis Bateman.
He's been strong off the bench for the Tigers this season.
He has. He loves running wide, and he's got a bit of toe there for a big fella too out wide, Peter.
Yeah, I was surprised once he got into the clear there, just left the rest of them behind. I mean, Denman are pretty much out on their feet with 6 minutes to go, but now 42-0 with a kick to come.
Yeah, my guess is that I'm not preempting anything, Pete, but I'll be very, very surprised if this Denman side come back for the second half, mate. Very, very surprised. They'll probably have a discussion there, and they look. Let's say they probably will have a discussion at half time, and I reckon they'll give it 10 minutes, second half. So
it'd be a shame for the amount of people that have turned up.
Yeah, the old boys' day up here, especially the old boys over there. They had a great game, the old boys against the Indigenous brothers earlier today.
Was that earlier?
That was 12-all too. I only just wish I could remember half of them. Some of them have got some of the lads had got greyer. Some of them had lost a little bit more hair than they probably expected at this time of year. But it was good for the crowd to watch the old boys against the Indigenous brothers. It was great to see Guy Noon out there. Fair dinkum. What an absolute legend of the game Guy Noon was from the early 80s.
Came on for the Tigers with muscular dystrophy.
Oh, yes.
Rowie, and he runs the water for the under-18s.
Yes.
He's been doing it since most of those kids were juniors.
Oh, that's great.
So that's why he got the run on the field.
And he scored.
And he got a try down in the corner as well. So
yeah, that was fantastic.
Well done to him. Well done to the club
Absolutely
for allowing
brilliant.
that to happen.
Yep.
But Denman now back to halfway, about to kick off again.
44, we've got 4.5 minutes to go. 44-0 to the Tigers. Here's Benkovic with the kick restart. That's not going into touch. Ewan Bartholomew collects it, 3 out from his own line. Gives the ball to Hovey. Hovey goes to Andrew Charters. Charters goes low, but he unloaded to Travis Bateman. Clayton Edwards has tried to take him, but he goes forward himself again. Travis Bateman, he's finally tackled 30 metres out from the Devils line. Ball goes flat. Nathan Barry was running back on side, and Ben Clark from dummy half threw the ball straight into Nathan Barry, and Nick Martin had no option but to pull up a penalty for offside to Nathan Barry. It might give him an extra 10 seconds to catch their breath. Quick play the ball, or quick tap restart. Ball goes out wide to Loom for him. And, we give it to Huey Collins, who was looking to score a try out there, which he was over the line, but Nick Martin found that it was forward.
Look, I think that call's come from the far touch judge. He just stopped in his tracks as soon as it was thrown.
Well, he knows that they're going to score all day out wide if they just give it out there, but I don't know if it was that forward.
It looked okay from here.
It did.
No, they're downfield from us, but it still looked fine from here.
Yeah. Anyway, scrum feed to the Devils. 15 out from their own line?
You get a big push here from the Tigers? No?
Nah, they're not going to bother. You know, I don't want to be critical, but why would Nick Martin just say, let's put it back in again? Just, what's the point?
Just let it go.
Just let it go, Nick. Seriously, mate. Ball goes out from Benkovic onto Jackson Stair, onto Zachy Webb, 10 metres out from his own line. They try and promote it. It goes to Andrew Charters. He tried to stand up Harry Douglas there, and he nearly did so. Young Charters, and Duggo just got an ankle tap to him at the last minute and halted his progress. 30 metres out from their own line. Here's Jackson Stair now takes the ball up, first off the ruck, I should say. Bowdy at dummy half. You don't want to play a short side, Bowdy. Here's Nathan Barry, goes forward, and he's up over his own 40. Loom for him over the top, and Benny Clark down below. Just shy of halfway. Ball goes from Benkovic from Bowdy out to Benkovic. And Benko looks like he's got a leg injury out there.
Yeah, I think it was just the way he's kicked that ball there, and he's pulled up a bit lame, but
yeah, he might have
bringing the ball
I
back
don't know
now.
what the hell's happened to his leg, but Harry Douglas has retrieved that ball inside his own 10, and that's the last thing they need, the Devils, another injury, for goodness sake. Here's Hasselman at dummy half, 30 out from his own line. He goes nowhere. He scrubs out of one, gives it on to Jesse McLean. Mick McMorrow comes across and grabs him. They're down to 9 players, the Devils, right now. They're on their own 40 line, the Tigers. Ball goes from Hasselman onto Huey Collins. Huey Collins runs into Jackson Stair and also Tommy Mann. Ball comes out there from the ball to Cameron Savage, and he's tackled right on halfway by Zachy Webb and also Tommy Mann. Good tackle, boys. Benny Clark at dummy half onto Hasselman over to Liam Forum. Liam Forum comes down this short side onto Travis Bateman. Bateman runs forward, and Benkovic he's got nothing, poor old Benko. He can't even run to try and catch anyone. Ball goes to ground, but it went backwards. It goes into Ewan Bartholomew's hands. He goes down this short blind and shrugs off a couple and runs around to improve his angle and scores just shy there. We're under a minute of play left in this first half. That'll take it to score to 48 points to 0.
Yeah, look, Benkovic ended up stopping right on the sideline and staying on. I think he was going to see it out to half time. They ran out here at him. He couldn't move. He shook his head as soon as he went to turn to try and chase and couldn't even do that.
No, it'd be interesting to see. He might have pulled a muscle there in his right thigh.
He's now sitting down on the bench.
He needs to get ice on that straight away. Anyway, the sign will go as Liam Forum's lining this shot up for half time. Now they've only got 9, Peter. What's your thoughts?
Thoughts are that this is the last 9 seconds of the game today, I would think.
I think you're on the mark, mate. My guess is that I would not be surprised in the least that at maybe 50-0, I think both sides will shake hands right here, right now.
And there goes the half-time siren, but Liam Forum still lining this one up.
Some of the Denman boys are already walking off the field.
Yeah, they've had enough.
Anyway, it's disappointing, isn't it? Really disappointing to see, mate.
It is.
Here's Liam Forum moving in to make it 50-0, and then by our guess, that could be the last we see of this match. He moves in, makes no mistake, 50 points to 0 here at McKinnon Field, up here at Aberdeen. And that's half time. I'll be very, very surprised if 9 players come out for the second half. Look at the Aberdeen boys. Some of them are standing around wondering whether they'll even go forward. Is it even worth the problem, the worry?
Wondering whether to walk back to the shed or shake hands.
Yeah. Peter, look, I can put a number of hats on here, mate, but is there any benefit by playing another 40 minutes with 9 players, mate? Is there any benefit? I mean to say, I'm all for a game of rugby league, but what are we going to prove here today when the semi-finals are next week? Are we going to, against 9 players, is there anything to prove?
No, there's absolutely nothing to prove. And the only thing that could happen is, players end up with injuries.
Yeah, that's true, mate.
And as you say, now...
But not only Denman. Aberdeen won't want to get a freak injury as well, playing another 40 minutes. That's not needed, mate. Absolutely not necessary, mate. And I see Gretchy shaking hands down there with Philly Beverstock, the trainer for the Aberdeen side. And they've pulled up stumps. That's come over the loudspeaker now. They've pulled up stumps. That will be the final score for this game. 50 points to 0. The Aberdeen Tigers on Old Boys Day, convincing winners here. It's not the game that we would have loved to have called, Peter, but we've got to do it. We have done our very best all season to promote Group 21, and we're doing it, and we'll continue to do it for what will be a fantastic semi-final series starting next week.
And that's what we look forward to now. The season is now behind us, the season proper. We now move into the finals. Exciting time of the year. Weather warming up as well, which helps a little. But look, out of that first half of footy, I thought Jackson Stair, the young bloke, with the 13 on his back for Denman.
He's only a junior too, Pete.
He's going to be a great player.
He's a great asset to the club, a really good asset to the club, and I hope that... I don't know exactly how old Jacko is. I would not be surprised. I think he might still qualify for juniors next year, which is incredible, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, he's got some good ticker in him, and... it's a name we're going to hear a lot more of in Group 21 and I reckon even beyond.
Anyway, we might wrap it up. Big thanks to Benny and Brafe for the camera work today. We've done the old boys, we've done the reserve grade, and And thank you to you, Pete. We've hung in there for the first 40 minutes of first grade. Just before we go, I do see Harry Douglas might have a little ankle injury down there. Hill's got 7 days or 6 days to get over that. I'm sure Harry's not going to miss a semi-final, and I'm going to call him the rescue club for the rest of the season so far, because that's what young Harry Duggo is, the rescue club that you need in your golf bag.
Oh, exactly. I need a whole lot of them in my bag, I can assure you. But now, look, he had a good half of football. And it was in the last minute of the game. He got a bit of an ankle injury there, and he was hobbling around and the trainer saw to him. He's got the one sock off at the moment, no ice on there, but he's walking a bit better than what he was a few minutes ago.
Well, thanks again, Pete, and also to Benny and Braith. And look, we're looking forward to a big semi-final series kicking off next Saturday afternoon. I think that's the major semi-final.
Major semi on Saturday.
Saturday, minor semi down at Pertec Park on Sunday. So until then, a big thank you to everyone, and we'll see you then.